Okay, let's do this.
Wow, we're here.
Oh God.
So just sit back and let our unseen tendrils envelop you.
You mean you're going to tell us why?
Why is my reference sheet stab-proof?
Arouse a sentient trebuchet.
You are on a fast train to Weird Town. My table is on fire.
Secondly, it sticks a brazier underneath your bottom.
As well as a secret extra mini-game where you see if you can pack each one back in the box.
Because to directly quote Brad Pitt from the film Seven, I like boxes and finding out what it is that is inside of them.
Time out. Tell me how you're feeling. Are you excited yet?
Your mother's a liar, your world is crumbling.
And we love it.
We love it.
I didn't get you anything because my psychologist says I shouldn't talk to you because you're a fruit.
Punch the player who's winning in the nose.
Or you've made a series of unusual life choices.
They're not just smashing on your floor.
Don't go and beat up those NPCs. I'll give you a biscuit or whatever. Not a biscuit. It's Eclipse, so it would be a space biscuit. With disappointingly half-assed and sometimes quarter-assed illustrations. And this embarrassingly exciting sliding rules reference. Tantrum is actually the most complicated gear lock to play because you have to manage his anger with the fastidiousness of an accountant.
Are they watching you?
Maybe you're just being paranoid. Who knows? I know.
Matt got to review the game that's known on Board Game Geek as the greatest board game of all time. And I get to review the one that's known for being waterproof.
Gloomhaven demands more table space than a small Mediterranean wedding.
Investigators fighting tentacle monsters and the cults who love them. Having a double scotch in the bath. And I want to have their children. Light and sweet and Moorish as startups. It's like a wafer thin French wafer. As if you were skimming the icing off a particularly gory cake. Like greedy toddlers stuffing sweets into their slimy maw. You know how when people describe seeing a puppy and it's so cute they just want to bite it? Ah!
And it has that thing where it just looks almost tasty.
We'll get to that later. Right now I'm trying to go fast to prove a point. Oh, these things taste awful.
Like a delicious juicy berry. Dark and delicious like a vampire dipped in chocolate. Accommodating butter.
It is a minor miracle that this copy of the game of mine is not covered in bite marks.
But don't worry, I am definitely not going to eat this game.
You kind of feel like you're constantly setting the table for dinner, but then realising that the guests have already eaten and left.
Maybe you're just a really upset plant.
Or ran into a room with a book and a knife and then was just a horrendous murder machine on legs. But is it enough fun? Well, according to this letter we've received from the UK's Department of Fun, it's a no. Oh my God.
We're going to talk about the decks now?
We're going to talk about the decks. Okay, so when you're building...
I love the decks!
Stop.
That sounds a bit wrong.
At worst, these might be roving horrors that want to put things into / take things out of your body or your brain.
Next time you see a feral pigeon, why not apologise to it personally?
A siren that crashes your ship into unexpectedly lovely rocks.
Are you hot for space lions?
Pretty much the first thing I've done is punch a lion's dick off.
Why? Ooh, you make a noise like a plumber who's just been asked for a quote. Mato toma, tomato, tomato, mato, tomato, mato, potato. If I win, then everyone goes, oh, if they win, everyone goes, hey! Ah! Tomato, potato, mato, tomato, toma, tomato, tomato, mato, mato. Boom! Ah! Suddenly, everyone at the table goes, oh! And I go, ah! No one even knows what's going on with me. I don't even know what's real anymore. I call it the Twimpers.
Did you bring your revolver?
Why?
I actually brought my encyclopedia.
Oh. That feeling sucks. Gushing like a broken toilet.
I brought my encyclopedia.
Oh.
That's what
Your engine blows. It feels like you're poking around in the chest cavity of Optimus Prime with
I brought another encyclopedia.
flop over one another like tactical tagliatelle.
Gnawing at the depths of their soul.
You're doing it to kill them. Maybe that's not a great example. Well, having it set up is like an Autobot autopsy.
It's impossible not to feel like a middle-aged man having somebody explain to you the difference between Justin Bieber and Harry Styles. You appreciate that some people might care about this, but at the same time, I'm not sure I can.
It's a little frog, or...
Looking at something dark and slimy.
Oh, I made a bird friend.
I kind of have this weird buzzing noise in my head all the time. It kind of gnaws at my skull.
It's an abstract representation of my fear of heights.
Flapping fleshy fingers.
Oh, it's a picture that represents all of the repressed hatred that I have.
Well, I mean, the buzzing noises in my head are urging me to kill.
Awful, do not buy this. Let's talk about the eagle owl, the only species of bird that is on record as having attacked and killed a healthy adult human. Honestly, depending on how grumpy I am, this thing can be in my bottom 3 birds or my top 3. This system of schematics opens up like a beautiful flower, and in that flower is space murder.
I didn't even know that you could be a rat.
If they win, they're a jerk, and if they lose, they're a jerk and a loser.
I'm a little rat now. I do rat things.
You can actually hear the game designers screaming. I love you.
No, I love you.
Ooh.
Booms, bigger booms, napalm flashbangs, smoke grenades, and it's quick and it's exciting and then it's over.
Does it sound like fun? My goodness, it is fun.
And it's nonsense. This is a game about playing some kind of dark timeline version of Dr. Dolittle trying to trap birds in a pyramid scheme. Sometimes it's because the designers have once again tried to fit an entire experimental minigame on the back of an encounter card with about 3 tweets worth of text.
Where you're comedically fed a series of crypts as if at the whims of some mad social media algorithm that thinks you like crypts. You're in a crypt! Have 4 crypts!
You, a human, first has to go to this enormous, like, socialist shared bird feeder to collect food, which you then use to attract birds who then live here forever and act as some kind of like traitor to their genetic class because they help you to attract even more birds. But there's more. They also produce a secondary currency of inert eggs on demand because if there's one thing a pelican and a grebe can agree on, it's that they will not move in unless you first destroy a number of eggs equal to their neighbor. It makes no sense. Even if you fail and fail, as if you've just paid for a diploma in botching studies from Ono University in the beating heart of it town, you'll see that icon there, that YouTube icon, and so that means there's a YouTube rules explanation, you go, and it's 9 minutes long. That is the equivalent of watching a fun movie with your friends, and then your friend pausing the movie so they can explain some of the themes in it for 9 minutes. I was in Middle Earth. You better have a good reason for taking me out of it.
And this is as crunchy as you like. It is a veritable fistful of cornflakes for your mind. Crunchy. It's all of this stuff. It's just flavour.
Could be rethemed as a game about taxidermy, and I don't just think it would still work, I think it might work better. Although, as an unintentional bonus, you can look forward to corrupting your online data footprint as search engines start to think you're genuinely upset about having too many bones.
Beautiful craft work on the outer shell, but inside, the beefy sustenance of 100% eggs.
Because it's so precisely balanced like a tightrope walker's checkbook between accessibility and kind of being slightly murderously evil?
I hate this game.
Whoa, you can't say that, you can't say that. Let me do it. Quinns hates this game, but that's because he's a chump and has no class.
The survivor is like the spanner you insert into the game's mechanics to stop them crushing you to death.
And who better to understand gloom than a man perpetually trapped in England?
I want to be happy, but it's hard.
Who's it good for?
Hard-rocking coochie mamas who get the job done?
What does that mean?
I don't know.
Gloomhaven feels like the idea of Hero Quest, minus the disappointed realisation that there's actually not a lot to Hero Quest, it's apart from the cardboard furniture, which is weirdly more exciting than the game.
Who's it for?
Well, people who believe Lovecraft is all about firing a shotgun at a tentacle and don't understand that Lovecraft storytelling is really about loneliness and impotence.
All right, that's enough.
I know, because
You do this every time, stop.
Pickett is as popular as he is frequently unconscious. Long since bombed until it resembles a really big car park.
This cursed bin is just awful and mean.
On behalf of all cursed bins, I'd really like to apologise for the behaviour of this.
No. It's not the job of one cursed bin to apologise on behalf of all of the other ones. Like, it's a really sweet gesture, but you don't have to. We all make our choices, you know. We're all individually responsible.
All also collected bodies and then eaten bits of them to recover health.
How do I prepare to get masticated?
Did we get that? Excuse me, Quins. Gonna have to arrest you on suspicion of printing play.
Okay, this really is not a crime in any way.
See you later, Quins.
And there's no way, there's no board game in the world that prepares you for being masticated.
He's going to be calling up other cultists on his special cultist WhatsApp group. It is possible to get unbelievably good at this game, to display incredible intelligence as well as incredible heart. And if that doesn't sum up the game, I don't know what does.
A review isn't an exhaustive list of things. A good review should be a window to a view of how something might make you feel.
Oh my god, is there anything you can do?
The game's intelligence just stops, falls off a cliff, and you're just rolling dice. And it's great! Oh my goodness, they were onto something in the 80s.
Oh my god, how did you do that? You are amazing! I love you! Let's high five or marry or both!
How do I... The game is subdivided into 20 nanorounds of 10 phases each, where you'll try and collect hexes according to their inverse hypothetical value. Then there's blind bidding with time tokens. And if the tableau that you have assembled is non-Euclidean, you will miss a round, a nanoround. You want to avoid building or being forced to build a tableau that will lock you out. Why start with 10 time tokens and 10 currency cubes? Why is this happening? Who are we? What is... Begin the increments!
Fun game of instructing your friends to jingle their pouch over and over again. Thicker fuzz than the floor of a barbershop. And unusual levels of moisture, hey!
That's disgusting!
No! Bad hypothetical viewer. Then the experience is basically downhill from there.
Worse.
So let's talk about price, baby. Let's talk about currency. Let's talk about all the ways that you can buy with certainty. It's a good game, it's a good game, it's a good, lovely game. It's really huge.
Think of something that's really big, right? Think of that. No, something bigger than that. Right, double that. Now think of like a whole shelf of those. It's that large.
Who's this for?
Well, people who enjoy this nice, elegant sort of eggplant colour.
I think that's like a violet, like amethyst.
It's kind of periwinkle.
Lavender almost.
Oh, heather, maybe?
Or orchid.
Jam?
Raisin.
Raisin. What about purple? Oh, it's not just purple, is it?
Oh, that's rubbish.
Hopping around like mad cultists or terrible Morris dancers.
It's basically the same thing.
They are basically the same thing, you're quite right.
That would be like closing the barn door after the horse has bolted. Bolted across the border and bolted to its foreign horsewife and applied for horse asylum and had horse children and fathered a horse legacy that lasted for horse generations until it was discovered 10 centuries later by horse archaeologists.
If you've enjoyed this video, you can click like, you can click subscribe, you can click comment. There's all sorts of buttons on the internet and we'd advise that you click all of them.